All right, this 17-year-old Texas boy was on spring break. Police say his girlfriend snuck him into her bedroom, but when Dad opened his daughter's door at 2:30 in the morning, she said she didn't know him. And now Jaron McCormick is dead. The father claiming self-defense. More from our affiliate KHOU in Houston.
He was all of 17, and Jaron McCormick was like family to Omar Hicks.
That was my baby brother. I miss him so much, and I wish it didn't happen.
But it did. McCormick was shot dead inside this home by a father who believed he was an intruder.
I have never, ever felt a pain like this, ever.
All Zakia McCormick knows was that her son was snuck into that house by a 16-year-old girl. But when her father walked in on them, she claimed to not know him.
As a mom, I just can't imagine. And I know that Dad was probably trying to protect the family, but he should have let the authorities handle it.
Instead, investigators tell us the girl's dad called 911, got into an argument with McCormick, and then shot him because the dad saw him reach for something and was afraid.
I would like my baby back, but I know that's not possible. A call, I'm sorry.
We don't know much about the girl, but friends say she was quiet, and her father ended up on a stretcher after what happened for some sort of medical condition.
They were strict. They didn't really like her doing a lot of things.
Now, instead of enjoying spring break, McCormick's family is planning his funeral.
I really wish that he would have had a second thought about killing a child.
And his heartbroken friends are still trying to understand how this could happen.
He was at my house yesterday, and now he's gone.
So the big question, will there or won't there be charges brought against his father? That'll be up to a grand jury in Harris County, Texas to figure out. Is this against the law? Was this some form of manslaughter? Was this murder? Or was this self-defense, justifiable homicide? My dream team back with me, and this is a difficult one because there's a lot of elements here. And you've got one thing that the father does. He does call 911. Mm-hmm. The daughter says one thing, but she's lying to Dad, and then there's some argument. To me, the key to this whole case is what happens between the 911 call and the shooting, because there seems to be some sort of altercation, whether it's verbal or physical, and whether or not he was actually reaching for something or not are all the key facts here.
Exactly, Vinny. And when the father asked the daughter, who is this guy? It's on her, I think, because she's the one that said, I don't know. So she basically threw her boyfriend under the bus, and then the father said that he saw him drop his hands as if reaching for something, so he had no other choice at that particular time, if he was in fear of his life, to go ahead and shoot because he's in a wheelchair. So, he's not able to move at all, and the brother also didn't recognize us.
And you talk about like Oscar Pistorius, we're covering that trial, and he's talking about feeling vulnerable on his stumps. You've got this father who's going to say he's feeling vulnerable in his wheelchair. When something happens in Texas, especially in this part of Texas, I got to call my friend, criminal defense attorney, legal analyst Brian Weiss, who joins me by phone from Houston. Brian, thanks so much for being on the program. Great to speak with you. Let's start here. Educate us about the law in Texas. When can you not shoot someone in your house?
Vinny, the law is pretty clear in the Lone Star State that you have the right to use deadly force when you reasonably believe that your use of deadly force is necessary to not only protect yourself or to protect a third party. And obviously in this situation, the very arena where this event took place seems to me to be the consummate example of when you ought to be able to use deadly force. When you walk into your 16-year-old daughter's bedroom at 2:30 in the morning and you see a young man there who you do not know, regardless of whether or not your daughter knows her, and that individual allegedly makes a threatening move, that, in my estimation, is almost a textbook example of a individual's right to use deadly force.
Brian, one big thing you said here, you said makes a threatening move, okay? So this is taking the father at his word. It seems to me there's three other people, two other survivors that are inside that house. You've got his son, and you also have his daughter. Does she become the key witness to this whole thing?
She absolutely does, because what a Harris County grand jury is going to determine, not whether the suspect is guilty or not guilty, as your viewers know, but whether or not there's probable cause, more likely than not, to believe that a violation of the criminal law occurred in the great state of Texas. In this situation, the daughter's testimony is going to be all important, because whether or not a reasonable person in Dad's position believed that his use of deadly force was necessary, Vinny, is going to turn on the nature and the quality of that movement.
Now, they can compel her to testify at the grand jury, correct, even though she's the daughter of the defendant?
They absolutely can. There is no family privilege that exists that will keep that young woman out of the grand jury chamber in the weeks and months ahead.
All right, Brian Weiss from Houston, great to speak with you, my friend.
You, Vinny.